The final of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup 1996 remains one of the most iconic nights in cricket history, a match that changed the balance of power in world cricket forever. On a dramatic evening in Lahore, the underdogs transformed into champions as the fearless Sri Lanka national cricket team faced the mighty Australia national cricket team in a contest that would redefine belief, strategy, and aggression in one-day international cricket. What unfolded was not just a cricket match, but a story of courage, innovation, and destiny. Coming into the tournament, Sri Lanka were not considered favourites. Traditional powerhouses like Australia, India, Pakistan, and the West Indies dominated headlines. Yet Sri Lanka had quietly built a revolutionary style of play. They attacked from ball one, shattered conventions about cautious starts, and believed in overwhelming opponents early. Their opening combination, led by the explosive Sanat Jayasuriya, had already terrorized bowling attacks throughout the tournament. Jayasuriya's fearless stroke play in the first 15 overs took advantage of fielding restrictions in a way the cricketing world had rarely seen before. Australia, led by the composed and tactical Mark Taylor, entered the final with immense confidence. They were battle-hardened, disciplined, and packed with match winners. Their bowling attack had variety and bite, and their batting lineup included the rising talent of Ricky Ponting alongside experienced campaigners. For Australia, this final was about reaffirming dominance. For Sri Lanka, it was about making history. The atmosphere at Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore was electric. Thousands packed the stands, while millions watched across the globe. The pitch promised runs, and conditions favoured stroke-making. When Australia won the toss and chose to bat, it was a decision rooted in scoreboard pressure. Finals often tighten nerves, and chasing under lights can test temperament. Australia hoped to put up a formidable total and squeeze Sri Lanka with disciplined bowling. Australia's innings began steadily. Their openers negotiated early movement and looked to build a foundation. However, Sri Lanka's bowlers maintained control, preventing the explosive start Australia would have wanted. The turning point in the innings came through partnerships rather than individual fireworks. Australia rebuilt carefully, focusing on rotating strike and preserving wickets for a late assault. As the innings progressed, Ponting showcased his class with a crucial half-century. His timing and placement steadied the innings, ensuring Australia crossed the 200-run mark. Contributions from the middle order pushed the total to a competitive 241 for 7 in 50 overs. In a World Cup final, 241 was no small target. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was enough to create pressure. Sri Lanka's chase began with anticipation and nerves. The aggressive blueprint that had carried them to the final was now under the microscope. Australia's bowlers struck early, removing both openers and silencing the Sri Lankan supporters. Jayasuriya fell cheaply, unable to produce his usual fireworks. At that moment, the dream seemed fragile. Finals can amplify doubt, and losing early wickets against a disciplined Australian attack was a daunting challenge. But champions are forged in adversity. Enter Aravinda de Silva, the man who would script one of the greatest all-round performances in World Cup history. Calm under pressure, elegant in stroke play, and fearless in intent, de Silva took control of the chase. He didn't panic. Instead, he calculated. He built partnerships, found gaps, and punished loose deliveries with precision. Australia attempted to tighten the screws. Their trump card, the legendary leg spinner Shane Warne, was expected to dominate the middle overs. Warne had already established himself as a magician with the ball, capable of turning matches with a single spell. Yet on this night, de Silva stood tall. He read Warne's variations, used his feet brilliantly, and disrupted the rhythm that usually unsettled batters. The partnership between de Silva and his captain Arjuna Ranatunga became the backbone of the chase. Ranatunga, known for his tactical intelligence and calm leadership, played the perfect supporting role. While de Silva played attacking strokes, Ranatunga ensured stability. Together, they rotated strike efficiently, ran hard between the wickets, and slowly tilted the momentum in Sri Lanka's favour. As overs ticked by, the required run rate remained manageable. What was once a tense chase transformed into a display of composure and belief. De Silva's century was a masterpiece under pressure, unbeaten, controlled, and match-defining. He reached 3 figures with authority, etching his name into cricketing folklore. The crowd erupted, sensing history within reach. Australia searched desperately for breakthroughs. Field placements changed, bowlers rotated, but Sri Lanka's grip on the match tightened. Ranatunga's calculated aggression ensured there would be no late collapse. With boundaries flowing and singles accumulating, the target drew closer. The once daunting 241 now seemed within comfortable reach. The winning runs triggered scenes of jubilation. Sri Lanka had done it. They chased down the total with 7 wickets in hand, sealing a famous victory and claiming their first World Cup title. Fireworks lit the Lahore sky, players embraced, and tears of joy flowed. It wasn't just a win, it was a statement to the cricketing world. Aravinda de Silva's all-round performance, a century and crucial wickets earlier in the match, made him the undisputed hero of the final. His composure embodied Sri Lanka's fearless spirit. Ranatunga's leadership throughout the tournament had fostered belief in a squad that many had underestimated. Together, they had orchestrated a triumph that would inspire generations. This final also marked a tactical evolution in ODI cricket. Sri Lanka's aggressive approach at the top of the order changed how teams viewed the first 15 overs. No longer was caution the default strategy. Instead, calculated aggression became the blueprint for modern limited overs cricket. Teams worldwide began adopting similar methods, proving that Sri Lanka's 1996 campaign was ahead of its time. Beyond tactics, the emotional impact was immense. For a nation that had faced challenges off the field, this victory united people in celebration. Cricket became more than a sport, it became a symbol of pride and resilience. Streets filled with celebrations, and the players returned home as national heroes. Australia, though defeated, would learn valuable lessons. Their professionalism and hunger would soon propel them into one of the most dominant eras in cricket history. But on that night in 1996, the spotlight belonged to Sri Lanka. It was their courage, their innovation, and their unshakable belief that defined the final. Looking back, the 1996 World Cup final stands as one of cricket's most inspiring stories. It reminds us that underdogs can rise, that innovation can overcome tradition, and that belief can rewrite destiny. The images of De Silva raising his bat, Ranatunga guiding the chase, and the Sri Lankan team celebrating under the lights remain etched in cricket history. For fans watching today, revisiting this final is like reliving a fairy tale. Every boundary, every wicket, every roar from the crowd tells a story of transformation. It is a match that still sparks debates, nostalgia, and admiration nearly 3 decades later. In the grand narrative of cricket World Cups, many finals have thrilled audiences, but few have shifted the sport's direction as dramatically as this one. Sri Lanka's victory in 1996 proved that cricket's balance of power was never fixed. It belongs to those bold enough to seize it. As you watch the highlights of Sri Lanka taking on Australia in that unforgettable final, you are not just watching a game. You are witnessing a turning point in cricket history, a night when dreams conquered doubt, when strategy met courage, and when a small island nation rose to the pinnacle of the cricketing world.